like the servant of Abram. Moreover, and this is something very, very important to point out, okay? When we talk about the ear, the marking of the ear, okay, the Torah talks about the piercing of the ear of a slave that chooses to stay. I am taking this law, the last one of the laws of the Code of Hammurabi that we have with us, 282, the last one. There are other laws concerning slavery in the laws of Hammurabi, but this one is very, very important, and we might touch on another one as well. Oh, we're not getting to the Haftarah soon enough, but let's read this quickly. Don, would you like to read the English here?
The English.
Yeah, it's at the bottom. I wouldn't
Okay.
ask you what they asked me to do when I studied Akkadian, and that is to read this crazy stuff.
Okay.
Guys, there was a certain point in my personal history where I could actually read this very, very difficult, with great difficulty, but there was a point in my personal history, somewhere around close to 20 years ago, where I had to actually be able to read this, and I have a transcript of credits that says that I could at a certain point in my history. Go ahead.
Well, I won't try that. I see. But if a slave says to his master, "You are not my master," if they convict him, his master shall cut off his ear.
Okay. So who gets the ear cut?
The slave.
Yeah, but not every slave.
The one who denies his master.
Right. So the one that denies his master gets the ear pierced. Who gets the ear?
If he's convicted.
Yeah, sure. If he's convicted, if he's a free man and he's falsely accused, it's not. No, but really, a slave that denies his master. Who gets his ear pierced in the Bible?
The slave again.
Yeah, but what kind of a slave specifically? Think about the relationship.
The voluntary slave.
A voluntary slave, a slave that recognizes his master when he does not have to. Do you see the contrast, the very striking contrast between the Torah and the law of Hammurabi? In both cases, we have a piercing of, or we have something done to the ear. Again, not exactly the same thing, by the way. It's not the piercing of the ear here, but the cutting off of the ear, okay, which is much more cruel, okay. And the point, okay, is exactly the opposite point, because the one who recognizes the master when he shouldn't gets the ear pierced by the Torah, while the standard here represented in the Code of Hammurabi, that's the common law, that's the standard. If you're denying your master, if you're saying, "Oh, you're not my master," while he is your master, then you get your ear cut off. Okay, the master crushes the desire for liberty and freedom, okay, and ensuring that in eternal state of bondage and slavery by cutting the ear off. Do you see that in order to understand Torah, you have to understand the world of Torah here, guys?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I heard that in the Hammurabi Code that if you find a runaway slave, you have to return it to its master. But in the Hebrew practice, if you shelter him and you don't return him. Is that right?
Do you know what's the definition of an excellent question, Gary? You should know by now, right?
Yeah.
It's a question for which I have a slide ready, right? So, yeah.
Oh, oh my gosh.
Right.
That was fast.
That's the definition of right. That's the definition of an excellent question. Remember, whichever lecturer says, "Oh, that's an excellent question," it means they have already a slide ready for it.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
right. So that is correct. Okay, but before that, I wanted to have some fun, linguistic fun. Okay, that's your problem that you have uh, a teacher like that. Okay, if you keep on coming back, it means that you're okay with it. And we're gonna do some Akkadian, and you'll see that it's not as bad as you would think, because reading it was a complete nightmare, but learning it wasn't that bad. You know why? Because I have some background in the Semitic languages. I am a Hebrew speaker. So learning Akkadian was not as bad for me as it might have been for someone else. And now you'll see some of the words here are words that should echo for you guys as well, because of your Hebrew background. And for that, we will read the Akkadian now. Don't worry, you don't have to read the cuneiform. We'll read from the this. Okay. So I saw anyone wants to read something that is not Hebrew and can tell their friends later on, listen, I read Akkadian. Susanna, go ahead.
I'll give it a go anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shuma wardum ana belishu ul ebeli ata iktabi kima warasu ukashu ma belshu uzushu inakis.
Right. Okay. So, what do we have here? Okay. Let's see words that we actually know. Okay, are there any words that you know here, guys? I hope I can convince you that you know some of these, or at least that anyone knowing biblical.
Ata, ma,
Come
ana,
again?
ata,
Ata, right, very good.
ma.
Ul belli ata. Okay, he says to this guy, ul belli ata. Note the transliteration here. The normalization is not as accurate as the transliteration. The transliteration simply transliterate each and every one of these signs, okay? And then you make it into kind of normalization here. So we have ata, two signs, okay, that at and ta become ata. What is ata?
You.
Right, you.
So
You know,
ul is low, like not.
right, ul is the negation. Ul belli ata. What is belly?
Master.
Baal.
Very good. Who said that, right? Ulrike? Was it you? Anne? Was it you? Yeah, guys, the German accent gets me every time.
I think it was Susanna.
Okay, anyway, so guys, belly. Okay, ul belli ata, bel shu. So we have the word bel twice, and we know bel from the Bible, right?
Baal.
Baal. You know what? We actually know bel in the pronunciation bel exactly like that. In Mesopotamia, they instead of saying Baal, they said bel. We have it in Isaiah. Kora bel, kores nevo. And we have it in the addenda to the book of Daniel. You know the story of Bel and the dragon?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So Bel is not just that pretty from the Disney movie, right? Bel meaning pretty, but in the Semitic languages, Baal or Bel, the lengthening of the vowel instead of the pronunciation of the guttural, means master. So ul beli ata, you already have your first Akkadian sentence. You are not my master. If someone tomorrow, if you happen to be demanded to, if someone claims you're a slave tomorrow in the street in Akkadian, you already have an answer prepared. Ul beli ata, right? So you're good. First Akkadian sentence, ul beli ata. You see how much we support freedom and liberty? That the first sentence we learn in Akkadian is "You're not my master," right? Ul beli ata. Okay.
Nathaniel, how many signs had to you learn? 5,000 plus?
No, not thousands. I'm not saying there are no thousands, but it's less. It's more like hundreds because it's mostly syllabar. Okay, it's by syllables, not by ideograms. There are some ideograms as well. This is an ideogram. Okay. In this case, the ideogram for a slave, waldum. Okay, based on the Sumerian language. But most of the signs are of syllables. Do you see these are syllables?
Yeah.
Okay, so each and every one of these is a syllable. Okay, now sometimes you have more than one sign for a syllable, or a syllable can, or it can be more confusing than that. A syllable may have more than one meaning. Okay, I'll give you an example in a second, but it's not thousands. Okay. Okay. So ulbeliata, and you saw the connection to Hebrew. We also have the word for ear. Okay, Uzun shu. The shu at the end is a suffix that marks his. But what is uzun?
Ear.
Yeah, like the biblical Hebrew.
Ozen. Yeah,
Ozen. Ozen. Okay, right. So you can see Ozen and Uzun, very, very similar. We have other similarities, more advanced, like to less common biblical Hebrew or Semitic words. Iktabi, biblical Hebrew nokev, can sometimes mean to say. Okay, not very common, but we do have it. And inakis, similar to the word neches or nakas, which in some other in Aramaic can be to cut, so to cut off. So you can see there are certain similarities in as far as the lexica, and so it was nice. By the way, also a case law, shuma, if, okay, then similar to the biblical law in the book, in the weekly portion of Mishpatim and in standard biblical Hebrew. So if a servant says to his master, "You are not my master," he proves that he is, and then he cuts off his ear. And again, we've talked about the contrast between that and the biblical law to understand that. You asked about the signs, and to begin with, I marked these, and in the text you can see the word shu. Okay, so the pictographic sign shu, I'm going to teach you one. Why not? Okay. What does it look like, the ones that I've marked, guys?
Suffix?
Yeah, but what the marking looks like?
A fence set on its side.
A fence on its side. So it has
5
1,
strings.
2, 3, 4, 5, like this. Okay, like a fence. Interesting. What else could it be?
A ladder.
a letter. Okay.
Arrows stuck in a wall.
Let me show you. Why talk? We can
Like
show.
some sort of a harp that could be strummed.
How about this thing? Looks like it? Do you see this?
And
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a palm of a hand, guys.
Got it.
Oh,
I could draw a better one than that.
Yeah, obviously.
please,
Okay.
I'm only.
Okay.
Choosh.
The shu can be also read as kati, as hand, cup, palm of hand. Okay. And later on, okay, what belongs to him as a representative of something that belongs to him, maybe because it is related to the word who. Okay, shu. Okay, adding the shu at the end means that it belongs to him. Okay, might be also connected to connection between the shin and the hey in some grammatical issues, like in Akkadian, the word the something that is akin to the hifil and hufal that we have in Hebrew. Instead of using the age, we use the shin. Okay, so it might be related to that. In any case, you can see that palm of hand, it can be either a hand or the sound shu. Okay. Okay. So that's the when you see one sign, you have to decide how you read it. Do you read it like the word for hand, cut, or you read it as shu? Same sign, different pronunciation, different meaning. Okay. So that's a little bit about the signs in Akkadian. Now we have to, as correctly mentioned by Gary, there is a law that really pulls the rug under biblical slavery. Okay, let's read this, and I'll read for you from the Haftarah later on. So, anyone wants to read the first verse here from Deuteronomy?
Yeah, I can read.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Lo tasgir eved el adonav asher yanatzel eleika me ein adonav.
Right. So that's the first verse here. You should English, please.
You shall not turn over to his master a male slave who seeks refuge with you from his master.
So right, Deuteronomy 23:16 pulls the rug under slavery in general. You should not turn in a runaway slave. Furthermore, the following verse says that you should treat him very well. Imecha yeshev bekirbecha b'makom asher yivchar b'achad sha'arecha betov lo. Okay, he shall dwell with you, among you, wherever he chooses, at any of your gates, wherever he feels good. Lo tonenu. You must not ill-treat him. This was not just pulling the rug under slavery, but it really pushes for preferential treatment, or at least, treat him with the utmost decency wherever he chooses. Okay? And the comparison to the Hammurabi law code, go ahead, Gary.
If anyone receives into his house a runaway male or female slave of the court or of a freedman, and does not bring it out at the public proclamation of the major domus, The master of the house shall be put to death.
So what happens to anyone harboring a runaway slave according to the law code of Hammurabi?
Curtains.
A capital punishment.
Yes.
Again, this law is, you cannot have a functioning slavery system if this is the law. Remember, guys, do you know Dred Scott, the case of Dred Scott?
Yes.
So could you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, basically, Dred Scott was a runaway slave back when slavery was legal here. And he ran away. And of course, he was brought before the court. And the courts ruled that he must stay a slave.
Right. So in 1857.
You're right. Yes.
Right.
Roger, I believe it was Roger B. Taney who was the
Right.
Supreme Court justice who ruled that way.
Right. That is correct. Okay. So if you have such a law like the Torah has here, you're not gonna be able to sustain slavery. Again, I'm not getting into the American history. By the way, it's relevant also for Israel because, yeah.
Isn't there a difference in why someone becomes a slave? I mean, there is slavery out of the fact that people were practically stolen out of their life situation, and somebody just said, okay, I own you now and I'm going to sell you. Whereas there is a form of slavery or there can be slavery as a form of payback for being in debt.
So you're right. There are two types of slavery. We don't get we don't have much time to get into it, but you are correct about the fact that when we talk about slavery as part of usually a war, you lost a war, now I own you, okay, that is also a type of slavery.